Yesterday I talked about the gear we need to start painting, and I mixed a little paint to show how the primary colors are special. But what did this do for me as an artist? Let me tell you more. I paint with two of each primary color in white, as you can see laid out here. And let me mix a little white into these two blues so that you can see how different they are. So why do I need two of each one? Well, paint is made from naturally occurring minerals and from chemistry. Neither approach is going to give us a perfect primary red paint, for example, that would be right in here. We're always going to have a red that either a little bit on the yellow side or a little bit on the blue side. And likewise with the other colors. So we can take advantage of this if we make our palette out of two blues and two reds and two yellows that distinctly lean a little bit towards the other primaries. So if I want to mix a really bright color, this is when this comes into effect. If I take my blue that is on the yellow side, and you want to imagine this palette circling around where this blue would be over here next to this yellow. So if I take some of the blue that is on the yellow side and some of the yellow that is on the blue side and I mix them together, I'm going to get a really bright green. Now, if I take the blue and the yellow that are on the red side, and I mix them together. These are the ones I used yesterday. You see I do get a green, but it is a grayed down green compared to this bright, bright green. Now these are both really useful in painting because in the foliage we're going to see different greens. Now there's two other combinations that I can do here. I can mix this yellow and this blue. This one is still going to come out pretty bright, but not quite as bright as that one. And if I mix this yellow and this blue, I'll get something similar. But you can see how I'm able to make a whole bunch of different greens by combining my two blues and my two yellows in different ways. And I can do the same with mixing the other two primaries together. For example, mixing these two to get orange and these two to get orange. Or these two to get a bright purple and these two to get a more grayed down purple. This is all going to be very useful when you want to paint the landscape. I know some of you are thinking, if I'm only going to use a few colors, I'm going to have to do a lot of mixing, and I'm not very good at that. I was going to solve that problem by buying all the colors that I need. Well, there are two problems with that. You'll be buying a lot of paint, and every time you want to paint a different subject, you'll need more. And your colors won't look like they go together. Not only do we get bright, clean colors using the limited palette approach, but the colors harmonize with each other because they're all made from the same minimal set. Don't be stumped by the thought of creating a new color by mixing paint. Like anything, it requires just a little knowledge and some practice, but it gives you such enormous freedom. The paint that you apply to your canvas has several important dimensions. Hue, what we describe with the name of the color, value, how light or dark it is, and intensity or chroma, which is how bright or dull the color is. The limited palette that we just talked about lets us control the hue and the intensity. It surprised me when I was learning that value is even more important than those other two dimensions. The value pattern in your painting has a stronger impact on the composition than the color does. Have you heard the saying, value does the work and color gets the credit? It's true. The way I make sure my finished painting has the composition that I started out with is to create a value composition or value map. Here's one that I made with a student last week. It has 4 values. The great thing about this map is that I can mix a color, say the green that I want for these dark trees, and I can put a dab of that color on the dark trees, and if I squint, then everything looks black and white, and I can see if the color that I mixed is too dark or too light, and then I can adjust it. This is magic. Once I learned to use this minimal palette and value map, my fears about starting a painting went away. I knew what to do at each step, and I could try new things without being intimidated. I was able to create paintings that I and other people wanted to hang on the wall, and people asked me to paint pictures for them. I wasn't dabbling anymore. I felt like an artist. If you've ever wanted to learn to paint and have tried painting and put down your brushes in frustration, or you just want to start again with a step-by-step process that leaves nothing out, look for the next video tomorrow. I'll tell you about a class I'm about to open for people just like you.